We're online?
In just a moment.
Okay, maybe we better get
Let's
ready.
also check the mic. Do I see any? Yeah, I can see it. I might have to
Okay, so
increase
it's
the
at
gain a little bit.
254 to,
So we're ready to go, huh?
Just about.
Okay.
volume 39 is these original. So yeah, I can give you this one.
Nick, are you ready?
Give me
Do we
1
have-
second. I want to adjust the input level.
Have a color bar screen.
I don't know that, I don't know what time it is.
I can look. I gotta set my clock for 3 o'clock anyway. Yeah, it's 1:30 on the
It's
dot.
1:30, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's hope that volume level's okay.
That's amazing that we're actually ready on time.
Okay. Testing. I have to get the stream up on another device. Double check.
Okay, let's see, maybe I can get it on this thing.
What's that new song I
For
downloaded?
some reason, I cannot. I can't get any sound on this thing.
Forbidden Planet incidental.
Is there sound coming out of it?
That's when you're battling the Krell on the Forbidden Planet.
This,
Those two beatniks are great that did all them sound effects.
Yeah,
for
I'm not
Forbidden
sure.
Planet.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Okay, so anyway,
I don't
yeah,
know why there's no
this card
sound.
has, you're gonna have to get yourself one of these and go through it.
Sound.
But, so it looks like from 2,
Usually. Just taking that full screen for a second.
oh God, why does it keep doing that? From
That's weird. I
2,
don't know.
it's got sound, I mean, it's got
I
strong.
understand that. I just don't
And
know
this
where the
thing-
where the
I'm
control is.
wondering,
from
I wonder if I
234.
should break
Maybe
these
you're-
pieces of plastic out.
Is it?
I can't make it any louder. Although the other sounds seem
Yeah,
to
you can
work,
have
like,
this card. But
this is a little tutorial on,
Real confusing in a hurry, which is the problem I've
how
had.
to use the chart plotter.
is,
So.
you know, I've got literally thousands. of
Well, what I wanted was
discs
YouTube.
running in that one. Thank you.
And I got this instead.
It's got like number 1, but what you're gonna wanna do
Okay,
is,
somehow you gotta be able to.
okay. You know, this is just,
SanDisk brand generally works then with it.
yeah, I've stuck with it because let me have that one.
Yeah, usually it's a pretty good name brand.
It's like you
Okay.
can try to use your
Someone has
favorite
gotta be a way to-
CF disk. And,
What's that?
Is there a way here
CF
to
card. okay,
search
turn
for
this
something?
on. Turn on the console. Reset the final ground.
You may have to back a page.
Let's see. Back one page.
I'm not getting any sound out of this. Whoa, I don't want that loud. Which means I might have the wrong.
Good old days of the TI when
Oh.
you just turned the switch and the thing was on and you didn't have to worry about any extra stuff.
Well, you always admired that. You know, you don't gotta wait for it to boot up. You don't gotta
Yeah.
wait for this, that. You turn it on, it's there.
Yeah. How do
Plus, there's
you,
no distraction of YouTube or anything like that. The internet.
swipe down to close? Okay, I'm swiping down and it's closing.
Okay, so with RXB, Do you have RXB?
RXB.
Rich Extended Basic.
Search.
Oh, yeah, I think I have a cartridge.
This one? I think the last update he did was 2015.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Okay. So anyway, we'll reset it. And here you see how it picked it up. Unless you turn the console off or hit the red reset button, just resetting the console or doesn't reset the cartridge. So we've got it with menu, without a menu, or the extended, the editor assembler version. So the EA gets you this screen. So I always use just directory, disk 1. And there's the first disk in there, Chicago.
Lego user group.
Where was our?
Search for Chicago TIUG.
Same as 1.
Al, search for Chicago.
Yeah, here's 2. 2 is the
TIUG
setup, the same as
altogether.
1.
Oh, you
So it's the
did?
Chicago user group. So volume number 1 is the Chicago disk number 1. And we were just going through how you can't read a text file with
It's better
RXB.
if you just take all that space
He
out.
put so many utilities in
It gotta
it,
be capital?
he didn't
Take
have
all
a
the
text
space
file
out.
reader in there.
Take all the space out.
Well, usually you
All
can get
together,
that off a
TIUG,
boot or
Chicago
something like that.
Oh, okay.
So.
The historic.
But RXB,
T.
press the space bar.
G.
Hit enter. Just hit
Hit
enter.
glue. Hit search.
Search.
Oh.
Was
This
it
is
235?
Right,
That's where I had my
this is
utilities.
today,
This is all the Chicago library
Right
here.
this one?
This is all, and then they jumped
Live
to
stream.
200.
Oh.
So they only matched directly up to
That's
disk
today, January 2020.
170.
Okay. Is that what I hit?
And 4 years later, they renumbered to 200. Is actually the library disk 171.
Okay, looks like we're live, boys and girls.
So I think it's like about 235 is my work disk. Is it 235?
Yeah, I can see the chat.
235.
Can't hear a damn thing, but then I can hear it through here.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out in just
I
a
don't know why
second.
this thing won't. Another problem. Are we
So the
ready
thing
to
I like
go?
about this is you do a directory.
I'm just gonna do a last final sound check.
No, it's a work disk. It's not a utility disk. I need one named utilities.
We are live, by the way.
243. Okay. There we are. Got sound now on
I
this.
also probably want to use that.
What one was that? Was the utility? 243.
Well, here we are again in New Year at the Chicago CTIUG group being held at the Evanston Public Library. And Vic is just finishing up a little bit of a tutorial with one of our newer members, Ken Griffith. Jim Mazurk, our engineering guru, is here, and I'm here as well, Hal Shanfield. And I guess we're about ready to actually get it underway with the regular meeting and the regular show.
Okay.
So, Vic, I'm going to pass the microphone over to you, and you're going to tell us what you've got in store for us today.
Where's my library for these cards? I had it's under here, isn't it? Yeah. I was working on let me find out where I've stashed everything. Okay, I'm looking for, in the olden days, the librarians had to bring 2 or 3 big suitcases of floppy disks into the club meetings. And they had all the 5-inch floppies that we use. And nowadays I got an Altoids container with compact flash cards, and I've got about 5,000 floppy disks on those. So it's really made a big difference on my back, plus using a nano PEB and not having to carry a P box around. So let me reset the final ground card. Go to the final ground menu, select C for devices, spacebar, and press E for RXB. Okay, now we're in Rich Extended Basic. So got a shout out here to Bob Roberts, who on the TI-99-4A Facebook page announced that he was donating a copy of his entire library, TI library, in .dsk format that can be used with the Compact Flash Nano, and the .ctg files that I believe is a Linux emulator cartridge file. And I found conversion programs online, so I will eventually be able to change over his cartridge files. But I did put all his disk files on a compact flash card. So let me get the utilities disk loaded, and we'll see what we can do here. Let me get the 3 here in the library, and utilities are 1 through 10, and the CF format, I don't want to use utilities, is volume 2. So we're going to tell it unmount floppy drive 2, and we're going to mount. Now, what disk was that for utilities? Was 2. Go back to RXB's directory here, to a directory of disk 2. And okay. And then vmods 2, Vic utilities 3 and 4. Okay. Go down to the Compact Flash Manager. Okay, this is the old software from my original Compact Flash 7 that I bought in 2010, and it doesn't work on the new Nanos. So I will have to mount a different copy. And I'm just trying to find it here because I just went through all this last night, believe it or not. It was 3 or 4.
Owen says hi, by the way.
Oh. And that looks like it's blank. Yeah, Owen was has just recently gotten into HO slot car racing. And I had mentioned to him how Waleed had was it a TI computer controlling a slot car track? And he was amazed at that. So I don't know where that video is.
The one that I always liked was the guy that had the model train layout set up being run by the TI. And I wish I could emulate that.
There we go. Okay, here's the original utilities disk. We want the archiver disk edit master. No, this is this is for the CF card. I thought I had my new boot utilities on here. I'll go back again. Volume 4 in there. No, that's it again too. Copy of utilities and utilities. Yeah, 2 and 3 should have been the updated utilities files. I'm sorry about this. Well, it's not GI demo.
It says he's here in spirit. Home automation design notes. Why are we here? Why are we on Eastern time? I didn't know we were on Eastern time. If that's, is this a chat or is this? It looks like a chat. Why are we on Eastern time?
No clue.
I have no idea.
Maybe he should check his clock.
Yes, perhaps we're on Central Standard Time in Chicago, Chicago land.
And making a statement without telling us where you're seeing the time
Yeah.
isn't particularly helpful.
Home automation design notes. Is that? I don't know who that is. Tell us who you are. HADN.
Well, I'm going to change the card out here because I do not seem to have the correct file loaded on that one. Where's VMods? That was the last one that I worked on. 4, 5.
Five people
One.
watching now. I don't know who else is there.
Well, one is you, one is me.
5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, I need another card. It says VMods on it.
Public site. How can we tell the privacy?
I don't know what we're talking about.
You've got one over there.
Yeah.
Looks like
I don't know how in a small room like this I can lose a CF card. Found it. All right. I'll get this plugged in yet.
Say, Hal announced the start. Alex. Say, Hal announced the start time. Alex.
Who announced the start time?
Alex. Well, Alex, we usually start around 1:30 Central Standard Time or Central Daylight Time, simply because we can't get into the room until 1 o'clock, and it traditionally has taken us forever to get all the equipment up and running. And this is 100 times better than it used to be. It used to be that sometimes we wouldn't get on for an hour and a half because my old recalcitrant laptop was the transmitter, and on Ustream, it seemed like we had every kind of problem you could have. And now we're on YouTube and things have gotten better. We're using a Linux laptop. Everybody in the room but me seems to know what they're doing, and things have gotten a lot better. So I don't know if that's the answer to the question.
Okay, this is on my modules disk that had modules on floppy disk. So of course the first disk is the compact flash format that I wrote a couple of years ago. Then we have our utilities, and this was the file I was looking on, volume 1 nano, because that is the updated compact flash manager for my nano PB. Because the old CF manager doesn't work anymore. We had XP 2.7. These volumes that match the numbers are blank. Then here's the modules disk. So we got like VMODs 01 is a position 11. So we can quit this. And this is one of those load Y load, where the extended basic program load loads a DF80 Y load program that simulates editor assembler in the extended basic environment. And at a fair long time ago, I got in a whole bunch of these disks that say either utility diskette or complementary disk. This blinking thing says GPL interpreter simulation. So we have budget management, demonstration, EasyBug, home finance, personal real estate. So that's a disk that runs off a floppy. And here we can catalog a virtual floppy. This is the one I was looking for, is at position 12. If you remember at our last meeting, we had all sorts of fun with educational software that didn't work.
How unusual is that?
Hang on, I gotta unmount this. So we'll put disk number 12 in drive 1. Do a buy. Select RXB, disk 1 load. And here's the load Y load again, except this comes up sort of like the regular TI screen. If I was using extended basic instead of RXB, this would come out the correct black on cyan. But again, entertainment modules. And what was the one we were using that we couldn't get it to do anything correctly? I think it was Alien Edition.
Take your pick.
Well, I discovered that, yeah, it's actually there. It's just this is common. The TI cartridge is trying to put its menu up, but RXB is already up here. So you get this little garbling here. So 1, 2, 3. So we want 5. Deutsch, Italian, Espanol, Netherlands. You know what? I might just go to extended basic on this. I'm gonna. Where's TI extended basic? Is L? Okay, that was correct. Try one for Alien Edition. There you go. Okay, that was the problem we were having, was RXB fills up 3 slots and we couldn't get our menu here. We want 8 for English. Yeah, I discovered that the problem was operator error with this program, that it appeared that it always says 0 and you don't get a 0. Well, you gotta move the joystick up or down using the correct joystick, or type in the number and then hit the space bar. Let's see which one it is here. Okay, so this is a keyboard game. I said this is a keyboard game? So you change the number. Okay, alpha lock down. You just type in the correct answer, press the space bar. So it was a, like I said, operator error why we couldn't get this to work last time.
See, this game requires outside knowledge just beyond the TI, you also have to be able to add and, which makes it more difficult for the older set. Um,
So it works fine. We were going like, oh, gee, is there a problem with the disk file or something like that? No, it's just fine. So yeah, my face was red when I got home and I tried it out and I went like, oh, if I move the joystick, I can run the number up one at a time or down. We have what, the meter multiplication? What was the second one we were doing? Yeah. Well, read up on the speak and read and find the second game, because last month we did the word zap. And I think there's like 6 games on there.
Oh, God. I didn't know there was going to be a test.
Yeah, I'm going to be giving you one of my little quizzes later. And then you'd say you'd rather have one of my little testies instead. But okay, this one, yeah. So it's, yeah, this one is like when it matches, you hit the fire button.
Not too sure that applies.
Yeah. So this is what I was used to, is something that gives you the answer, and you have to match up the answer with, yeah, if you hit the wrong one, then it gets closer. And if he hits you, he zaps zaps one of the buildings. So that's a follow-up from last month. All right, I am going to go back. Since I have a disk with a load file on it in disk 1, there's no way I can select regular TI Extended Basic without having that load program run, which I guess is okay. Now, if you have something like RxB, or if you got Super Extended Basic or something, or if you got a physical floppy, yeah, then you can take it out of the drive. But the best we can do is a function for. But we want the load program on disk 3, which is our compact flash utilities program. So we can, let's do a listing of what's on here. Volume 1 nano, volume 4 nano. Okay, those are the correct ones. Volume utilities, we'll catalog. We'll do a list again. All right, volume 1 is at locations 3 and 4. So we'll catalog 3. And okay, this is what I wanted to go through, is somebody was complaining about he had trouble reading a at symbol README file off a TI disk. And he was wondering if the cartridge he was using had a built-in text file reader. And I said, no. And he said that he had accidentally managed to do it once with Funnel Web, but he didn't remember how. And so I answered him. I said, well, there's like Ken Gilliland's Disc of Dinosaurs series of discs and such. He always had J. Peter Hottie's text file reader program installed so you could read his extensive text files. Well, you can also read the text files in Archiver. The boot program, which I would recommend that anybody, if all they got's like an EA cartridge or Extended Basic, to get that. And then the DM2000 could do it also. So let's find a, that's the format. Okay, that's off of 11. Is there a DV80 file on here? No, it's here's YLoad. That's a disk fix. That's the editor assembler one. Come on. 12 load DF128. No, it's a DF. Gee, now you try to find a disk with a DV80 file on it and you can't. What are we on? We're on VMods right now, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, Barry Travers. Genial Traveler discs would have that on it. So let's catalog disk 100. Yeah, this is Barry Travers' Genial Traveler disc. He's got source code. He's got all sorts of stuff on here. So we'll load disk number 100 into drive 1. Do a directory disk 1. There it is. Okay. Let's find something likely here. And I'll show you how easy this is. We'll call EA directory disk. No, let's go with disk 3. It's the one with the utilities on it. And yeah, so I set up archiver, boot. I got a catalog program on here, Compact Flash Manager, DM2000, and another volume cataloger. But let's go with boot. We'll go down to that. Press enter to load EA. Okay, now this isn't RXB. This is a program called boot. And it's like a poor man's RAM disk. You can put boot and its associated load program on any of your floppies, and you can edit these different sections for what program you want to run. So let's see, we want to show a directory of disk 1. There's a directory. Now you can go back, you can run extended basic, you can run EA, you can view a file, whether it's a disk fixed or display variable. You can delete it, which is a command I don't really like to see on a screen like this, and you can press enter. So we'll go down to something that looks like, what looks like a DV80 file that you would read here. 2 fonts. S1 probably means the source, but let's look at it anyway. So there's V for view, press enter. Oh, there it is. And this is part 1 of source code for 2 fonts. File is easier to read in TI Writer or EA Editor. So you can see this is a much wider screen. Well, a cool thing about boot is if you've got an F18, you can press W, and now we're in 80 column mode. You can press 2 for display a file. It remembers the same file, and that's how it should look. Yeah, it's a little harder to read because now it's squeezing everything to about 1/3 of what it used to be, but that's what it would look like. And you can press a key, go down a file. Yeah, most of the work I would do would be in regular width. We'll view this one. And again, the Artist Graphics Connection by Ron Albright. Almost simultaneously, I don't know which one was first, the owners of the TI-99/4A were blessed with 2 of the finest graphics designing utilities available for any machine. And you press the space bar and you go, you go down a row. Okay, so if we go to disk 3 here, okay, now it's gone through my utilities disk. I can press R to run Archiver, and there's iCarver 4.04G. I think that was the highest number on that. So you can catalog a disk. That's catalog disk 1. Print it out if you want. And there's the same thing that we saw before. So what do we have? You can extract files that are archived. You can catalog it. Or you can list a text file. But because of memory constraints, Archiver doesn't pick up the name of the file that you're interested in. You have to remember it. Also, you can print it out if you want. And it has a problem with that. Okay, we'll catalog it again. 1. Oh, it was friend, not friends. So let's try that again. 9. Source drive 1. And there's the same thing. Except in Archiver, it scrolls automatically and you have to press the space bar to stop it. Press it again to continue it. So Archiver will read a text file. DM1000, Disk U will do it. However, on DM2000, I couldn't seem to find a text file reader in it. So if you've got a disk with these pesky text files on it, there are several different ways of reading them. Okay, getting into fun. I know people might think that I play too many games on this machine. I've got another one of my folders, and this has, thanks to Dr. Eric Bray, he posted a disk of all the flight simulators that he has. And if you remember last year, we did SPAD 13. So somebody had mentioned the Dow 14 Gazelle and 4A Flyer and Winging It. So now we've got all these programs along with SPAD 13 are on one disk. Here you go, Hal. Why don't you teach us how to fly an airplane?
Oh, yes.
Now, a lot of these, I just drew this up to make it about the size of the keyboard. This is for 4A Flyer, the hotkey overlay for, gear up, gear down, flaps up, flap down. Some of these programs are awful damn critical. If you try to go 200 miles an hour with your gear down, the plane explodes. Although I think there was a flight from the Philippines a few years ago. The pilot and co-pilot noticed they were running out of fuel and they had to make an emergency landing. And when they went to put the gear down, they found out it already was. So here they are flying across the ocean with the gear down at full throttle, wondering why the plane don't go. Yes, that is why they make checklists, folks. Some of these other games or flight simulators are quite comprehensive to where they go, oh, well, you've got flaps, you've got this. And they even give you a serving suggestion of going a certain speed before you pull back on the stick a certain amount, but don't rotate the aircraft past a certain number of degrees because it'll stall rather than taking off. And they're a lot of fun. Here we go. Okay, so we have to change cartridges again here. So on Compact Flash 03 at location 595, we will have sorry about that kerfuffle earlier, because I had quite a marathon session with all these cards. Get our operating system loaded here. Okay, we're on 3. 1 to 10 is utilities. All right. Okay, and that's the old compact flash manager on that one. I'm sorry, I thought I had straightened all these out.
You know, any program that comes with a 45-page manual sort of seems to me, any TI, let me rephrase that. Any TI program that comes with a 45-page manual
Sounds
seems
like a lot of
probably
fun.
too intense, too Byzantine for a broke guy like me. And this was in 1982 that this came out, the Dow Flyer. It's extremely realistic, I guess, except of course, as I recall, you don't see anything but the instrumentation, right?
Yeah, he should
Okay.
say in there, but
Yeah,
he's
so I believe that this is sort of an IFR, instrument flight rules simulator, where it's pictured as a low-wing aircraft with a tricycle landing gear, fairings on the wheel covers, and probably looks sort of like a Piper Cherokee, and would be a nice plane to fly probably. I always wish I had finished the ground course and gone on to take the flying lessons when I was in college, but it seems just a little bit too much to fly with the TI. Now I've played Spot 13 and managed to get as far as the Eiffel Tower, which I bombed a couple of times, and then managed to make it back to the airfield because I could kind of see what I was doing. But I'm not sure that I could visualize landing the aircraft in Dow Flyer.
Oh, you remember the in SPAT 13, it was all using a watch, and you didn't even need a stopwatch. One with the sweep second hand was fine.
Yeah.
And it was all seat of your pants. You were told what direction the wind was coming, how hard it was blowing.
Yeah.
You were taking off in a certain direction. And then there was the excellent series called Winging It, or not Winging It, SPAT Adventures
Yeah.
in our very own Chicago User Group newsletter that ran for about 10 or 11 issues,
Yeah.
where this gentleman had already done it, and he told you, take off and head in this direction at this throttle position at this altitude. And after so many minutes, look down and you will see the German trenches, or you see the enemy airfield, or you will see the Rhine River, or you'll see the Eiffel Tower, depending on which adventure you were playing.
Yeah.
So it was always
It's fun
yeah,
to fly through the legs of the Eiffel Tower.
yeah.
Not recommended in real life, but it was fun to do it.
Mhm.
And you could even bomb the Eiffel Tower if you felt like it.
So anyway, here's the disc that Dr. Eric Bray posted on one of the TI-related Facebook pages of all the flight simulators that he has. And I've got most, but not all of these flight simulators. But yeah, there's 4A Flyer. There's documents for 4A Flyer, which should be, yeah, here you go, Hal. Here's the documents for 4A Flyer.
This is Dow. This is Dow Flyer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
BHXP1. And here's the Winging It flight simulator.
Never heard of that one before.
Yeah, so I've actually got the actual physical floppy disks here for a couple of these. This is one for not polyoptics winging it. Just do not confuse not polyoptics with polyoptics. Nobody knows why. I got a disc here that has no label, so I have no way of finding out at this point what's on it. So since you've got the 4A flyer, let's load that.
Oh,
And yeah, I could give
this one's
Dr.
only got 12 pages in the manual.
Yeah.
And it tells you that the computer can land the plane, I think.
Mhm. I could give Dr. Bray a big kiss for posting all this if he'd only shave, and he says that's a very good reason not to shave.
You know, there ought to be, if I were writing one of these simulators, which of course I could never do, but if I were able to do it, I would include, I think I would have one of the planes that either has a built-in parachute or give the pilot a built-in parachute. So if he gets so completely frustrated that you think you're going to crash anyway, you might as well just jump out, pull the ripcord, and float to Earth and let the plane land itself if it can.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
will eventually land itself somewhere, in a tree or in a church or in somebody's backyard or
Mhm.
in a marching
Yeah.
parade on the 4th of July, somewhere like that. It may cause some
Mhm.
momentary consternation and perhaps some annoyance, especially if it
So-
lands in a large mall, let's say, on a Saturday afternoon. But in the meanwhile, you have gotten down to Earth and are able to hopefully walk away, go home, change your pants, and carry on with life.
Okay.
But if you can't land the damn thing, it seems to me that the best thing to do is help it land itself by turning off the engine, pulling out the parachute, doing the ballistic parachute thing, and just riding it down.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll come down to Earth.
All right.
And
If you can
chances
give
are
us
good you'll see
a
it.
dramatic reading of the first 2 pages there. Like, welcome to the. Yeah, right up here. Just start out with.
Oh, fasten your seatbelt and prepare for takeoff. 4A Flyer. You are the pilot of the 4A Flyer combat plane. Your mission is to carry top secret cargo to 4 separate airports, but watch out. Enemy planes will do all in their power to stop you from reaching your destinations. Start your engine, fly into the sky, navigate through hazardous weather conditions, search for and destroy enemy planes, and land safely without running out of fuel. Feel the excitement and motion of flight as you pilot your own plane with 4A Flyer.
Okay. And for a flyer, I've got the keyboard overlay to help me. And all the displays there are valid. Thank you. Try to get everybody to be able to stick their oar in.
Oh, yeah. Well, when it comes to zeros, Zap, I'm your man.
Okay. In 4A Flyer, you pilot the plane through takeoff, flight, combat, and landing sequences. You view the sky and the horizon through the cockpit window. You control the motion of the plane as you rush to intercept enemy planes. You battle enemy planes. You face dangerous weather conditions. Monitor your fuel and power gauges. Hear exciting sound effects and use the keyboard or joystick controls. Flying weather. It's perfect flying weather, or is it? Develop your skills under clear blue skies or hone your skills under a variety of weather conditions. The choice is yours. Just remember, different types of weather bring different dangers during flight. Selecting the weather option. When the title screen appears, you can press any key to play or press W to activate the random weather option. If W is not pressed, the default weather is clear skies. There are 3 types of weather which provide additional challenges to the pilot: snow, rain, and heat. When you press W on the title screen, the program randomly assigns one of these 3 weather conditions to the current game, just like living in Chicago. After each landing at one of the 4 airports, the weather may change. The 4 weather conditions are: number 1, clear, blue sky, green land. 2, snow, blue sky, white land. Rain, gray sky, green land. And heat, blue sky, red land. Clear weather is perfect flying weather. Well, it looks like what we have now, blue sky, green land, presenting no danger to the flight. Snow becomes a hazard when flying at high altitudes. Watch out for ice forming on the wings. Well, I sort of wonder how you tell if there's ice forming on the wings.
You can't see your end. You
Yeah.
can't see your wings in there.
Yeah.
Or if the plane has just crashed, you'll know that there was ice in.
Yeah. Rain presents dangers when landing. Be careful not to reduce your speed too quickly during a rainstorm. Heat affects your engine power during flight. Monitor your engine power carefully to avoid overheating. Okay. You see the instrument panel and the view through the cockpit window. The instruments show the status of the flap and landing gear. Okay, where's the flap? Here's the flap. Where's the landing gear? You know which one it is? Oh, yeah, right here. The gear is down. Okay, we've got a full tank of fuel. 2, the flight computer. The center rectangle below the cockpit window is the flight computer. This one? When in combat mode, it displays the altitude in feet and the heading in degrees of enemy planes and the number of times you have been hit by the enemy. Mm-hmm.
If you're just flying off for lunch or something, you know.
Yeah.
They're gonna shoot you down.
Yeah. You remember in SPAD 13, when it was originally written, there was no combat in it. And when the game was, I think when they went from disc to cartridge, they renamed it to Red Baron, and they included the Red Baron, so then you had the option of combat in it, as if it wasn't hard enough for them. Okay.
Isn't life tough enough? without
Speed,
being shot down in-
Compass heading, altitude 0. Okay, so we're not going anywhere. We're at compass heading 0, and our altitude is 0. All right, pitch indicator, is it nose up, nose down? Gear indicator, artificial horizon. Artificial horizon looks like 2 side-by-side triangles. Triangles tilt left or right when the plane is banking. Fuel gauge, engine power, flap. All right, well, let's try taking off here. There's a brake indicator, so you probably want to throttle up and then turn the brake off. And you probably want to get up in the air before you press G to raise the gear.
Yeah, I think it's always a good idea to have
Uh-huh.
the gear down when you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Otherwise you bend your prop.
Yeah. I read in one magazine about a glider contest where these guys had checkpoints they had to reach up in the air. And then whoever's the first guy back to the airport, and then they used the device called an Instamatic camera. It would take a week to verify he was the winner because they would have to develop the film of the snapshot he took over each checkpoint. And it would have to be on one strip of film, not cut up. And that's how
Those were the days.
yeah, that's how the judges determined that he honestly did fly over those checkpoints. And this one pilot said, yeah, he's coming back to the airport and he's on his final and he's going to land his glider. And there's all sorts of people yelling and waving their arms and running towards him. And he went like, wow, I must be the first guy back. And then he heard that crunch that the aircraft makes if you don't put the wheel down first. And because in the gliders, like the wheel is right there between your knees. I don't know how you can miss that. It's got this simple lever for raising and lowering it. And he said, yeah, if you're going to land with your gear up, you might as well do it in front of a crowd so everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it is when you're docking a boat. There's always a dock committee to watch you crunch the pier.
Mm-hmm.
If there's nobody around, you can make a perfect landing. But if there's dozens of people standing around, you're absolutely guaranteed to hit a bollard or scrape along the pier.
And you hate to
scrape
go the
about
cost
the-
and complexity of a thruster system to push the front or the back left and right at will.
Yeah. Sometimes I figure it's just easier to anchor out and swim in.
Okay, so you can, let's see now, key number 1 is throttle up, key number 2 is throttle down. Okay, so let's try to get this thing up in the air. Prepare for takeoff. Okay, Hal?
Oh, now I've got to do it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're the co-pilot.
Oh, I'm the co-pilot. Okay,
But
the
I've got-
checklist, I gotta
Yeah,
read out the checklist.
yeah, so I've got the controls here, so you tell me what to do, and I'll press the correct button.
First of all, you have to
James is the engineer.
Double check your parachute.
Mhm.
yeah. Put the key in the ignition.
Okay,
Got the key in?
yeah,
You gotta say check.
check.
Got your cool shades on?
Yep.
No, not yep.
Mhm.
You're no cat. What
Hang
kind
on,
of
I'm trying
pilot
to-
is this? Check. Cool shades. Check.
Yes,
Let's try this again. Ignition.
check,
Cool shades.
check,
Thermos bottle.
check.
Airsick bag.
Check,
Joint.
check.
Okay.
Legal now here.
Lighter.
Check.
Good. Okay, let's see. Oh, we got thermos bottle cup.
Check.
Okay.
So after you
sugar for the coffee.
after you empty the thermos bottle, a half an hour later, you have to refill it.
Yes, yes.
Ba-dum-bum.
That's going to be down the line a little bit. Here. We have a bucket. Bucket.
Check.
Okay, we're ready to go. Oh, seat belts.
Check.
All right, that's always good. Stewardess.
Check.
Good. Because you might want to join the Mile High Club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks to me like we've.
Why not check the Not for Kids box on the screen?
Yep. Camera
Check.
to record the Mile High Club. Well,
Mhm.
it looks like I have run out of things that would cause us not to be able to fly.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. So I guess we'll have to do it. All right, stand by. Alert the tower that we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or shall I do that?
Yeah.
Niner Alpha, permission to take off, standing by.
This is the tower.
Fries with that.
Okay, click the
Check
microphone
the
twice.
box.
Click. Niner 4A rolling.
So we'll power up to how much?
Power up as much as you want.
Okay.
I give it full blast because
Okay, I'll turn the brakes off. Okay. Now we're rolling down the runway. 12 miles, 19 miles, 20.
takeoff speed is what, 65? Oh, God, we got to know that. This is just like in the First World War.
Okay.
the man flew the
We
plane
ran
with
off the end of the
manual-
runway because you didn't tell me to pull back on the stick.
Oh, you're
So,
the pilot. You should know this kind of stuff. Pull back the
Pull back
joystick.
before you drive off.
The other joystick.
okay, so I'll put the brakes on,
Oh, not in the middle of the runway.
throttle up, throttle down. Oh, we started over again.
Oh,
With her down, fire, flap up, brake, enter lower gear to land, fire,
do we have
flap
enough
down.
runway left?
Yeah, they turned us around.
It turned us around, took us back to the gate. Oh,
Okay.
God. Now we got to wait.
So X is up. And let's see. Oh, ESDX. So E is down, X is up. So I'll, number 1, power up.
Would it have been simpler to take the train?
Yes. Okay. And what speed did we take off at?
Fast. Press the F button for fast. Plane off the runway. Wait a minute. Solution. Speed too high in the ground. I got to take off at, is that 80 or 60?
Gear down over.
No. The top of where my thumb is. Let's say 60.
Press X or pull back on joystick lever once speed reaches 60 knots.
60. Okay, we're shooting for 60 knots.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Okay,
I
well,
took off, but it settled down again.
yes, we gotta keep the speed up.
All right.
Okay, gear down, oh, no, gear down over 120, knots. As soon as we take off, we gotta pull the gear up.
Okay.
So here we go again. After we get out of the hospital and buy a new
Okay.
plane.
Powering up.
Yep.
Brakes off.
So, lucky for us, there was a 3 for deal, right?
Yep.
Okay, now which key pulls the
Flying
gear
goes
up?
through somebody else's plane, you know.
Flap up, raise gear G. Okay,
Let me use your plane. I want to show you something.
so let's see now. 65, take off,
60. Pull back at 60. Rotate at 60.
gears up.
Gears up. Gear up. Good. Okay, we're airborne. Keep the speed up.
Barely.
We need to be about 140.
We're about 200 feet now. It keeps wanting to nose down.
Okay,
How do I take
pull
the
back
flaps
on the
up?
stick and pull up on the throttle. Give it full.
Maybe I should have pulled the flaps up.
Gear up, light up, hot. Says
Yeah,
home
get
automation
the flaps out of the way.
design.
Okay, yeah, that was the next thing I was looking
This is
for
getting
here.
Expensive for planes.
It's only 4
Not to
times.
mention Meta cost.
Okay. Okay, brake on.
Maybe
Power up.
Perhaps in this
Gonna go
we live
up.
in a time when we just instantly 3D print a
Yeah.
new plane
Mhm.
and clone a new pilot.
Maybe I should have taken some Dramamine before we took
Okay.
off.
20 miles an hour,
That's what the
30,
bucket is for.
40, 50, 60,
Pull back,
65, pull
rotate.
back. Flaps up. What was the gear?
Gear up.
Gear up, okay.
Hurry up. Gear up. Throttle full. Full throttle. We're losing airspeed. Okay, take it up to about 140 and hold it there. That's good. Oh, what?
Crashed into the
What
ground.
was it this time?
I think I pulled the flaps up too early. I got the gear up correctly, but.
Wait a minute. What's this?
So anyway, these flight simulators are very accurate.
Yeah, that if you put any one of us
All right.
behind the controls of an aircraft, you get the logical outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the best I would be is one of those Uber type drones that they have, where you just tell it where you want to go, and it takes you there.
When the flap is fully raised and the plane is in the air, it causes the plane to slow down by 10 knots. So we got to get the flaps down. Once we get,
We got to pull them up after we're airborne, right?
yeah.
Okay, we're rolling. Let's see how X is up. We got to pull the gear up. At what speed do we have to take the flaps up?
As soon as we're airborne. Otherwise, we slow down. Press and hold 1 to increase the engine power. Press X and pull back on the joystick when the plane at an adequate level to pull up the nose of the plane up. You should receive a message during the takeoff procedure. Refer to the message center. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Just jump out the door if we're not too high.
Receive
you
a
know.
text message while
Preparing to meet the enemy. Oh, God. I think we already met
I
them.
can't seem to get off the ground. There must be something wrong with this program. Want to try another one?
the gravity simulator
Yeah.
is out of whack.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, well, that's as many planes as they let us have on any given day.
Okay.
Insurance company is already trying to pull our tickets, you know.
Like, why don't you try collecting on the other form of insurance, not the air?
Yeah, right. They're trying to. The life insurance company says these guys are,
Uninsurable.
uninsurable.
Okay,
We
so
don't want them even-
Pre-existing.
So that was
Try to
for a
cut down
flyer.
those Policies.
Here, let's try winging it because that's got an even smaller manual.
Wait a minute. What have we been on so far?
For a flyer.
Oh, well, that may account for some of our problems.
Yeah, so let's try
And
winging
then I've
it.
been reading the wrong manual for takeoff.
Oops.
Let's try this one. I don't think we even have flaps in this one. Do we have flaps? What the hell?
I think he's learning.
You know, it's like these guys that land in the wrong airport,
Yeah.
these airliners, and they have, you know, they're gonna be street
I
sweeping.
think he's
pretty
learning
soon.
wing it now, so.
Okay,
we
no,
need to
they
cha-
do.
We need to change
All
manuals
right.
again.
What are we doing now?
We'll go try
Now we're
winging
winging.
it. Of course, I never,
I'm good at that manual. I know that manual by heart now.
okay. This appears to be an extended basic program.
Written by Satan himself.
Which came 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, or
Well,
3?
we've gone from 48 pages down to 6 pages.
Fly with weather? No.
Oh dear God, we got enough. Roll clockwise, nose down, nose straight down. Now, why?
Does this use the, oh, there we go. All right.
Nose straight down. That's a death
Death.
dive. Why would they put that in there? That's like these people that make a toaster
It's a
with a
kamikaze
setting that will
training dive.
absolutely turn your bread into charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants
Brought
charcoal?
to you by the Imperial Japanese
Mhm.
Air Force, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, this one appears to have, I seem to remember this, this big display in the middle is your artificial horizon. This one is your map looking straight down, because I believe you have some missions like supplying supplies
Well,
to
here's
various
some good news. You can
locations.
fly upside down.
Okay, here, show the,
Stick it from the
show,
corner.
show the,
Not my favorite.
show the folks at home.
Oh, here, yeah. These are some of the wonderful, wonderful,
Wonderful, wonderful.
wonderful.
Are
We're
we
no
still-
longer,
Maneuvers
are
you
we
can
still
do.
focused
apparently
on the
we're no
atmosphere?
longer transmitting.
Mhm.
Oh, there it is. Oh, we're just a few seconds behind. All right, there's your listing of wing variations. You can fly upside down. You can fly upside down is actually kind of nice if you're in an open cockpit, because if you get sick, it doesn't come back to you. It goes straight down on somebody on the ground. Whereas if you're flying straight up, it comes right back in your face.
Okay.
Recommended. Unless, of course, you like that sort of thing. I don't
So
mean
what
to
gives
be-
us full throttle so we can take off here?
Okay, so press the full throttle button. Do you know where the full throttle?
No, I don't.
What kind of pilot
I
are
did
you?
not draw a keyboard overlay.
What kind
for
of a
this one.
pilot are you? All right, well, you see the bad weather button? It's bad weather right down there. That's bad weather. You don't want that. And if the stall light comes on, you're about to die. And then as you actually are dying, it gets shrieking at you that you're about to die. All right, now, in order to take off, well, strangely enough, they don't have a command here for how to take off. They tell you all about, got a page full of weather information.
Mhm.
It doesn't tell you how to take off. The stick works in a way that's somewhat counterintuitive. Pulling back on the stick makes the nose rise
Mhm.
and the plane climb. Okay. Move to the left causes the plane to bank left. Move to the right makes it go right. Well, all right. Okay, so we pretty much don't want any flaps.
No,
If we do, we take them off. as soon as
gotten
the
too much
airplane-
of a conflict with that last one with the flaps and the gear.
Our-
It never seemed to hit the correct combination.
As far as I can tell, the wheels stay where they are.
Throttle up.
Throttle up. Okay, give it full power. Brake off. Stand by to rotate. When you hit about, let's say 60 knots, something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe, kind of, sort of.
Well, what key turns the throttle up?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I'm glad you asked that. It's a very good question. An excellent question at all times. One should always know the answer to those kinds of questions. I would say press 4 until you hear the engine. When the speed reaches 70, pull back on the stick until you're airborne.
Okay.
Be careful to level off quickly or you may stall. You can use the rudder. There, I can hear the engine even with my bad ear. You can use the rudder instead of the ailerons to make small adjustments in the roll position of the plane. But in order to perform difficult maneuvers, like loops and rolls, a speed of 100 plus knots is necessary. Diving can be used to gain speed. Don't dive. Move fast enough. If you're in an uncontrollable dive, top the throttle and pull back hard on the stick. Huh.
I thought it was big.
The stick is M, I think. We're in the opposite direction of the spin. If you're upside down, controls have the opposite effect. Oh,
What speed do they recommend you be going before you
70.
rotate? Okay, we're going 70.
Yeah, okay, then pull back on the stick or pull the nose up and then level off. When you get up a couple hundred feet, keep the engine RPM up. We'll burn some fuel, but that's okay. We don't want to stall, but don't go too high, too fast. You might want to level off when you get to. Do we have a ground indicator? Altitude, 1 foot. We've got to be a little higher than that. Are we taking off? Are we already there?
Yeah, we're going 100 miles an hour.
100 miles an
So
hour. 100 knots.
though.
100 knots, a little more than.
So we're like 4 feet off the ground.
We're 4
Yeah,
feet off the ground.
All right,
I'd
should we
pull up
pick
a
the
little-
gear up?
I'd pull up a little, the gear up. I don't know. I don't think you can pull the gear up in this one.
Okay, it's fixed. Okay.
Yep.
Flaps?
And, altitude.
Ah, okay.
Now we're at 39 feet. I'd get just a little higher, maybe, a couple hundred maybe.
Now let me try to level off a little bit here.
Well, yeah, but we're still, about the height of a telephone pole. So
Mhm.
think about that for a moment at 100 miles an hour. Or 110.
Okay, it's being rather contrary. I was pressing the 1 key.
Yeah.
Uh,
What are those the wing positions?
yeah, that's the
So
artificial.
we're flying
Sideways now.
Sideways. Oh, I'd level us off if I were you. But that's just a
Okay.
suggestion.
I was
The
trying
right-hand
earlier.
seat.
It seemed to be a little contrary.
Yes,
as
I
to,
would think so. Yes.
Which key do you want to press to?
Now we're at 18 feet.
Okay.
I could have actually predicted that.
Okay.
I could have predicted that
Well, we
before
can't do
ever
any
started.
worse. Let's go to the.
Oh, the 64-page.
Yeah, man.
Mine. Well, let's see. So far, I'm able to read the front page. I'm sure. Oh, number 1. I love number 1. Load the program from cassette. Okay, that ought to keep us on the ground for a while.
Okay, so this is the BHXP1 is a 33 sector, and then 9 sector, which looks like it's EA files. That's another program I wanted to put on my utilities disk was Identifile. So I know if I'm trying to run an extended basic or editor assembler.
It says if you want to use it from disk drive, you must modify the program as follows. Let them run about 30% slower. You got to turn on the drive, turn on the console, select basic, call files, type call files 1.
Oh, now you tell me.
Load the program from cassette. Oh, well, what the hell? If you have a disk, I see. If you have a disk drive, even if you don't use the disk drive, you still have to run it from cassette. Huh.
So it's either taking it a long time to load an EA file, because you wouldn't have 2 files with one number consecutively higher trailing digit in basic or extended basic. That's only an editor assembler.
So now you can use your cheek pad there with the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now I don't have to tell you what to do.
It doesn't seem to be loading.
I think probably it's talking to the other program saying, listen, these bozos have just crashed us 10 or 15 times. Don't let them in your plane. We've
That's
got a much
okay.
more extensive
Well,
manual, and they can't even read the full page
BHXP
manual.
doc. Okay, so I would need to find a text file reader to read that. But BHXP 1, 2, and 3, it sure looks like editor assembler.
Or somebody at least that's wearing glasses can read the manual. Yeah, that would be good. Glide slope 3.4 degrees. Oh, come give me a break.
Well, we could try doing the Dow 4 instead.
Decision height. Do not go below in clouds. Oh. If you miss an approach, it tells you what to do if you miss an approach. It shows you how if you're on
How to go around?
7, you can hit buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just shooting.
I know where I live near West Chicago, it really vexes developers that they can't put 10-story condos all around the airport. They got to leave it like 1,
You're
2, and
lucky
3-story.
It's bad enough if you go up to Palwaukee Airport. The
Mhm.
flight path is right over some buildings that I moved the guy into about 30 years ago. And let's see, about 35 years ago. And and then the planes were just overhead the whole time we were moving them in. And I thought to myself, one of these days, one of these guys
Mhm.
is going to drop a plane right through his window.
Okay.
Light up hell.
All right, Dow 4
Gear
RXB.
up. Okay. Gear up, light up hell. What a way to go, it says. Alex says, what a way to go. Yeah. 6 times in a row. It's like one of those kind of dreams, you have all the time. You can't end the dream. You fall asleep again in the same dream.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, what are we doing here?
Well, I tried loading the Dow 4 Gazelle, and it's not coming up unless this is doing a lot of initialization of the program. Of course, that was a load and run.
Don't let any of this dissuade you from actually trying these games, because they could be, if you know what you're doing and you have the time to read 64 pages of manual, by all means, give it a shot. There are people that love this stuff. Love it.
There we go.
I try not to get any higher than, say, the second rung of a step ladder.
Here's our procedure. 1 is to take off. 2 is to fly it. 3 is to land it. 4 is a short field landing. 5 is instrument approach. And 6 is stop. Okay, let's try taking off.
Oh, here we go again.
Let's give us a wind of 10 knots.
Do they have an automatic takeoff position where the computer would fly it off for you? And more importantly, do they have one where the computer will land it for you?
Possibly the wind is compass direction, not speed. No?
Am I seeing
Garbage? Yeah, because that's a program correcting an error.
I see.
Yeah, because if I say
Keeping
like
us on the
wind
ground,
1,
in other words.
the wind 1, the chop is 1. Is this a flying or a sailing? Okay. All right, there's our instructions. There's our instrument panel.
In case anyone wonders why I'm a sailor instead of a pilot, this is your answer right here, boys.
Because you can swim home.
That's right. If I get to the harbor and it looks like really rotten conditions out there, I don't go out. I'm not one of these crazy bastards who fly up, he sees a thunderstorm, he says, oh, that's 50 miles away. I can make it back before.
Free electricity. Yeah. So here's the page 2 and page 3 of the instructions. The left side says operating instructions, pre-flight checklist. TI computer on and running smoothly.
Check,
Program loaded.
check,
Alpha lock off.
check,
Okay. Joystick operating freely.
check.
Okay. Takeoff normal. Full throttle. Pitch -5. Pull back at 60 mile an hour for liftoff. After climbing to a safe altitude of 500 feet, push the stick forward to obtain 110 miles per hour. Set trim. Okay, then continue climbing at 110 miles an hour. Okay, so let me try to find the page that actually has the controls on these.
They're all right there on the screen.
Yes, but what button do I push for like...
You push your belly button. And
no, that's the... Well, they do give you the diagram of this in the book, and then they do give you a serving suggestion of your limits in taking off from runway 27, avoiding the buildings, so they're thoughtfully placed a mile downrange.
Don't go under clouds, it says.
Yeah, and here's how to turn a loop to come in for your landing. Is you fly away from the runway, make a U-turn, and then come back. Oh, I gotta go feed a parking meter. Darn it.
Do me a favor before you do.
Mm-hmm.
Take off the microphone.
Okay.
It's only got a 20-foot cord.
Okay. Let's hope the old man turned off the force field, or this is gonna be a real short trip.
Well, don't take off. Don't take off and leave. Ah, here we go. Do we have something to fill the?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I got the alarm a little early. We got the F-18 demos. There's a whole bunch of them here.
Why don't you put on something entertaining like the scroll demo or the circle demo or something like that to fill the empty hours or empty minutes? Ah, that's good.
Empty-headed.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to feed a meter
Now I want everyone at home, if you're watching this,
because it's got my license number.
to lay back in your chair
If you happen to be in the state of
and close your eyes, or if you must keep them open, look at the interesting patterns. You are going to become very sleepy and will hear only the sound of my voice. Now you're going to a happy place. You are thinking good, pure thoughts. You are very sleepy, and you will not wake up until Vic has come back from the parking meter. And you will listen to the interesting tunes being produced by the computer. It's music to your ears. And when you wake up, you will feel very refreshed. Well, it's not classic, but it is techno.
That was what California was, it does not behave well.
This is approximately how a lot of people feel right now in Evanston, where there are long lines at the medical marijuana dispensaries. We have 3 in Evanston, and a couple more are planned. And some people are spending a lot of hard-earned money to get high. I don't know what the prices are. I know that down the road, it's a little bit cheaper. And there are no long lines. I see people driving up in cars and doing transactions in one of the neighborhoods. And they don't seem to be the type of people who would be willing to wait in a long line. In fact, after their transaction, they usually speed away. So they must have important appointments in other places. They don't hang around in that neighborhood. I think that under the circumstances, that's probably a good idea. Some of the dispensers of the newly legal substances may not, in fact, be people who are totally authorized to dispense those, I won't say pharmaceuticals, I'll only say substances. And however, many of them have had much more experience doing so than some of the people who are now working at the marijuana dispensaries. And therefore, if you want to know about the quality of products, about the proper names of products, about the places of origin, for instance, you might be better off talking to one of the old-time dispensers of happiness than one of the new people who seem only too happy to just take your money and shove a package across the counter, and you have no chance to say share a bit in advance of the purchase, like in the old days. It seems to me that everything is moving so fast these days, with Amazon delivering packages by drone, by nobody having the time to really get acquainted with products before they purchase them online. It seems that the world is just moving a little bit too fast for an old guy like me. Or maybe it's just my brain tumor talking. I have just recently been diagnosed with a brain tumor, and so you'll have to just kind of bear with me in some of my off-center humor. At any rate, we're getting closer. Oh, good. Alex says he feels light as a feather. It's working, boys and girls. And what's more than that, the price is right. It doesn't cost you anything, and you don't have to stand in a long line outside in the cold. And it is cold here today. It's in the 30s. We've been having some wonderful weather. We've been having 50s, high 50s in January, which is kind of unusual for our northern climate. My wife just got back from Australia, where it was 112 in the shade in Adelaide, which is on the southern coast of Australia. And when she got back, it was in the 40s. She's been cold, even though she's been wearing heavy layers of clothing. She's been cold since she got back. Well, if you're still with us after all of this diatribe, I've got some good news for you. Vic is back, and so we can wake everybody up and go back and see if we can't kill ourselves on the electronic runway. Vic, back to you.
Oh. Okay, well, we'll have to load
That's a nice one.
winging it. Yeah, that's one artifact of these F-18 demos is sometimes they carry over the color even after you reset the console. So you got to turn the machine off to get the colors back.
Nope.
Okay, reset the final ground.
There you go.
Load our operating system. Oh yeah, disk. Yeah, the PHXP dock. Boy, I wish I had a file reader on this compact flash card so we could see what the difference is on the editor assembler version. But we were on the Dow 4 disk, weren't we?
Yes, I think we're
Okay, so it's a 47 sector extended basic. Press the space bar to select extended basic. Oh, which card do we got for Compact Flash 3? Two, three. Yeah, so I'd have to do is find out which one of these compact flash cards has the correct utilities file on it, copy it onto that laptop, and then put all the other disks in that file reader one at a time, and copy that disk file back onto them. So I got the same manager, I got the same file reader, I got everything on this, all these disks. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we're going to try the takeoff.
Always better to do that than before trying the landing.
Well, there were some people, they were only concerned with learning how to fly the aircraft. They never worried about taking it off or especially landing.
Those are the kind of people that you do not want to hang around with.
Okay, instruments and controls. All right, causes for crashes. Miss the runway. Total wipeout. Impact with ground at a high rate of descent. Lost control. Going over 100 miles per hour on the ground during takeoff or landing. Or the wingtip hits the ground during landing during excessive angle of bank. Yeah, I think that's why flying wing aircraft never got popular. Too hard. Touch down on the runway, but too hard. Maximum safe rate of descent is 300 feet per minute. Beware of inherent lag in the vertical speed indicator. Thanks. Oh, I keep pushing one here. You got to press enter. So I'll go with a wind of one and a chop of one. Maybe that wind is what threw me off. Lost flaps. Extending the flaps over 100 miles per hour causes damage. Lost wings. Pulling more than 3.8 Gs may cause wing failure. Lost tail. Exceeding 200 miles an hour may rip the tail off. Too low. You hit the TV transmitter tower, mountain building, or other obstruction or terrain during ILS approach. Happens all the time when you're off course, too low, and when going too far below the glide slope. Okay, thanks. All right. Instrument controls. Okay. Marker beacon lights used only for an ILS approach. The left light, the inner marker. The left light, the inner marker, is not used. The middle light, the middle marker, lights at 1.5 miles out from touchdown. The right light, the outer marker, lights 4 miles from touchdown. AS, your airspeed. AH, your artificial horizon. Notice how nice this is, where instead of having to draw a needle, the author of the program is able to use just graphics dots to display needle positions, and it works just fine. Okay, your altimeter, which is also digital, they have that. Navigation radio, it's used for an ILS approach or to receive the en route navigation signal. Okay. Turn, okay, we're going straight. DG, your directional gyro. Needle points to the airplane's heading. If there's a wind, the ground track may differ. Yeah, like when you start flying sideways to go straight.
Yeah. I have that problem.
Well, yeah, that's the whole idea how a sailboat works.
Well,
Your keel, your rudder versus the wind and the sail.
just walking, I have that problem.
Okay, pitch. There's a VS, vertical speed. Your vertical speed going up or going down. Your pitch effectiveness.
Yeah,
Your pitch.
Pitch is this way, y'all.
Are the wings level? Okay, your tachometer. Your flaps are up? Or are they down? Okay. Okay, lights showing whether they're up or down. Boy, I'm going to have, maybe that was a
they're up
problem.
right now.
Okay, let me see
I
if I
think-
can find the page with the instrument controls here. Well, what key do I push? Reminds me of a story of a soldier who was fighting in Korea in the 50s during the Korean War, that there was a South Korean officer who was a pilot and would teach flying instructions to American GIs, like a little Piper Cub, something that's simple and easy to fly. And but he didn't know any English, but he could gesture and pantomime anything in teaching somebody how to fly the plane. And this instructor had a quirk. When he was confident in you that he believed that you could fly the plane and land it safely, he would unscrew his joystick and toss it out the window. Now it was up to you as the student to land the plane safety. He showed that he had enough confidence that you could do that. So this one American found out about that, and he made some preparations. And he went up with this instructor a few times, learned how to fly. And the instructor looked at him and nodded, smiled, unscrewed his joystick, and tossed it out the window. And the GI looked at him and nodded, smiled, and unscrewed his joystick and threw it out his window. And the instructor went bug-eyed and jumped out the door and pulled his parachute. Meanwhile, the GI reached in his duffel bag and pulled out a spare joystick and screwed it back in and landed the airplane at the airfield.
I just saw a video on YouTube about gliding, or soaring as they call it. And in one case, they were talking about a fellow who had a broken joystick. It broke right off. And he was able to, by using the pedals and leaning, he was able to land his glider. So this guy decided he would try doing something like that. He was in the mountainous area. He was out in the west, but it was a fairly calm day. So he decided to try and fly by not touching the joystick. But of course, he had the joystick as an emergency backup. And he managed to get it right on the runway, and not on the runway, but in the glide path about 100 feet off the ground before he reached for the joystick again. He said he chickened out, but he managed to get that far, and he managed to fly 50 miles or so just by using the pedals and gently turning the glider around and letting it down. And I suppose in emergency, if you've got nothing else, it's what you try to do.
Yeah. In the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, John Candy managed to get both arms caught with the sleeves of his jacket, got caught in the seatbelt mechanism in the seat adjuster. And so he was steering with his knees. Okay. All right, here's the summary here. Okay, joystick
Can we
pitch
get
to
the
fix
sucker off the ground is the answer now.
Back there. Climb, increase power. Descend, decrease power. Do you see a speed?
How do we know what the speed is? I can't see my screen. Is wait a minute. You know what?
Airspeed?
I'd really like to know how you pull back on the stick on this.
What's the little number up on the top? This is
I don't know what that means.
now we're up to 6. Is that speed?
Airspeed is over here. Where's our altitude?
Right there. That's
Okay.
altitude. We're still on the ground according to that.
This is really confusing because I'm trying to find, it tells you all the stuff you have to do, and I can't seem to find the key commands for,
Can you radio the tower and ask to have the crash cart standing by?
yeah. Foam, lots of foam.
Yeah, lots of foam and a couple of ambulances would be nice. And if we get it up in the air, to stick around because we still got to bring it down. All right, pitch 4. That's not good. I believe we've either just crashed.
I turned the motor
Oh,
off.
you turned the motor off.
Yeah.
Thank God. That's a good
This,
idea. Let's go out for a drink.
down for,
What is that 7 up on the top of the screen?
that's a good question. Let me look at the,
We've got a lot of it.
there's the page here is, stall?
Stall. Okay. And now it's just shifted to the other side.
Usually when they give you some, in addition to your instruments, they say what the controls are. Joystick. Okay, joystick is pitch and bank. I don't know which of these two joysticks it does for that. Maybe I was using the wrong stick there. Oh, now it crashes.
Oh, good. Here comes the ambulance. Hurry up. We're still breathing.
Wind 331 degrees at 16. Let's just do an in-flight. We're already flying.
Let's just, yeah, as long as we're pretending, we might as well just pretend to be up in the air. Then we could pretend we did a safe landing too. Total wipeout.
Well, they have a control here that you don't have any regular aircraft.
The bye-bye button?
Yeah, just about that. A jam. Pilots in a jam. Stop everything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Jam button.
Yeah, they got an automatic wing leveler on this.
Oh, all right.
H to hold your pitch. That's your trim control.
Listen, hold it. I gotta go. No. You just hold your pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Hold your pitch. We'll be on the ground soon. Yeah, that's what I'll say to the next robo call I get. Excuse me, would you hold your pitch?
Yeah.
Boys and girls, these are wonderful programs for people who have actually nothing better to do. You can spend hours and hours and hours amusing yourself with these wonderful programs if you don't mind hearing shrill sounds and simulated death.
Okay. So we should be at 10,000 feet, going 120 miles an hour.
Are our flaps up?
Yeah, they are.
We're going to crash. I think the flaps should be down if we're flying.
No, that's only if you're coming in for landing.
Flaps down is for landing? I think flaps
Yeah,
down.
take off and landing. I'll put 'em down.
You lose 10% with your flaps up. We're going to crash from 10,000 feet.
Well, how many feet do we got left?
I don't know.
It still says 10,000 here. Let's try going down.
Is that 10 feet or 10,000 feet? Well, now we're at 9,000 feet or
Oh, that must be a thousands indicator here. I slowed down the engine a bit, so we should be descending. Let's see which one of these joysticks does it.
we are successfully actually flying the plane. It's in the air.
Okay, it's this, yeah, it's the gem stick. Yeah, okay, we're circling around. Our compass should be moving. We do have a compass on here, right? Okay. And usually you lose altitude when you turn because you don't have both wings level.
Says, how many passengers are in the plane? There are no passengers in the plane. There are just two pilots, neither one of whom really knows what to do. We're in bad shape, and we don't have any parachutes or anything. Wait a minute, maybe we can have imaginary parachutes. If we're going to have imaginary flight, why not imaginary parachutes?
Mm-hmm.
Fair's fair. Oh, that sounds awful.
Okay, we're on instrument landing.
Did you turn? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm throttled down.
Did
Okay,
you-
we're at
did you turn off the
8,000.
engine now, or are we just plunging?
Yeah. Now we're losing some altitude. We're headed back to the airport. I wonder how you know when you're facing the airport.
That's on page 47. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
I think we have to have a lower pitch to actually descend, don't we? Do we know how to do that?
Yeah. Oh, we're still at 8,000 feet.
We're never going to get home.
let me try straightening out. Looking at the turn indicator, it was all the way over to the left
Yeah,
here.
that's what we should have on an airplane, is a turn indicator. Because those tailgaters know they're flying right behind us.
Yeah,
Don't want to know what we're gonna do.
yeah, you don't want to run
Especially
out
when
of,
the enemy attacks, you know.
you don't want to run out of
You
blinker
pretend
fluid
that you're
either.
going left, and they start to go left, it's like come out in football, you know, juking them. Put on your left turn indicator, and then you turn right real fast.
Mhm.
And the Japanese Zero, or make whatever it is chasing us, they go and crash. And it works for me.
Okay, aircraft registration number is supposed to the right of the stall warning indicator. This is used in all,
That's us up here.
okay, used in all radio
Nine
communication.
or 4 alpha.
Mhm.
That's us. Look. They even tell you how to talk to the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But the tower never talks back. That's in the second or third version, I guess. Due out any day now. It's an update to the 42-year-old version.
That doesn't sound good.
No, I don't like that sound. Yes, I
Oh,
don't
it
like that sound.
was
either.
from 7,000 feet.
Oh, good, the sound of the. Hurry up, guys, with the ambulance. Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, these are great programs.
Yes.
By all means, check this out at home, kids.
Okay. Once again, we've got a chapter 2
Chapter 2.
of our new acquisition, our speak and read. And we did chapter 1 last month, where we did the first activity with this device, which was called Word Zap, where it would say a word and then it would in sequence display 3 different words, one at a time, on the screen. And you would have to press the zap button when the correct word came on that showed that you knew how to identify it. So we're going to try Word Maker this month. So we'll turn it on.
Word Zap, level 1.
No, we're going to try Word Maker.
Don't feel bad if you can't do this at home, kids, because we couldn't do it here either.
Now with Word Maker, you have to type in one of these words that's in the machine's resident vocabulary. If you don't spell it correctly, or if you type in a word that's not in this list, then you get a fail sound. So I'll just type in.
It's really brutal.
Mm-hmm. We have the first word is add. So word 1. Let's see now. Go.
Add M2. Add. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters. A. D.
Yeah, press that off
Wrong.
button.
Try again. Add M2. Add. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters. M.
Add the letter M
A.
to add.
D. Yes. The answer is mad.
Okay, so that's our demonstration for the Word Maker.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
It has other activities to where it'll lead you in the kids book that you can read, that you can personalize for your kid. And it'll tell you which activity to go to, like activity 1. Cap, cat, hat, and they have to read the correct word and type it in the machine.
Got a built-in cheat sheet. You'll like this, kids. This is good.
It goes up quite a way. Now they have another section where you have three characters read with you, and you have Alpha Gator at the top, and Wordy Bird in the middle, and a rather creepy looking Reader Rabbit at the bottom. I don't know about you, but I find that
Yeah.
that thing's appearance disturbing.
Maybe he's rabid.
And it says, they want to read with you. So this is almost like the later Frog and Toad stories on the plot. Come and play. Reader Rabbit was sad. I want to play, he said. Who can I play with? He saw a cat. Do you want to play with me, he said. No, I cannot, said the cat. I am on my way home and cannot stop to play. Okay, so this is all age appropriate for kids that are learning to read.
It's a little too advanced for me.
Mhm. And well, if you remember the Johnny Cash movie where he was an illiterate coal miner who finally said, doggone it, I'm tired of having to look at a can of peaches to figure out it's a can of peaches from the picture. Yeah, I'm tired of going to the grocery store and depending on the clerk to not shortchange me and rob me.
Let me
So,
tell you a little story about trying to buy some food in Sweden. We were down to our last few kroner, and because we didn't want to change any money, we were heading back to Germany the next day.
mhm.
And as a result, we went into a store and looked at I didn't speak any Swedish, looked at some of the canned goods and found what looked like a very interesting meal in a can, an Eintopf, as it's called in German. And so we decided that night that we were camping out in our car. We pulled over a little space beside the road, had a little fire, opened up this can, and discovered it was only full of Swedish meatballs, highly salted Swedish meatballs, because of course they expected you to put it into some kind of a stew with other vegetables and things like that. The result was my wife had about 2 bites, wouldn't eat any more of it. But I was damned if I was going to throw away a perfectly good meal. So I ate the rest of this flat can of Swedish meatballs, highly salted Swedish meatballs, and then spent a very thirsty night. So we didn't have anything else to drink all night long, looking out over the Baltic, which of course is fresh water, but knowing that I couldn't just exactly wade down to the shore and drink right out of the Baltic, but that image haunted me all night long. As a result, I'd like to say I learned how to speak Swedish, but the result is I've never been back to Sweden. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay away from countries where I
Mhm.
can't read the food.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Johnny Cash's coal miner character's problem was once he says, I'm tired of being illiterate and I want to learn how to read and how to manipulate numbers, is all they had was like children's learn to read books. And thanks to movies like this, they've actually come up with adult learn to read books that aren't so childish.
They're very
in
popular
their
down in Englewood, I understand.
Okay, I actually found here on the on this compact flash card the DM1000. So here's we did a catalog here of our Flight Sims disc, and now let's look at the 4A Flyer dock. Now that we can read it by pressing T. Okay, 4A Flyer by John Phillips. Oh, sorry, John. Yeah, he was here a few years ago. Fasten your seatbelt and go ahead, Hal.
Oh, you want me to read that?
Yeah, there's a nice dramatic reading.
Yes, dramatic, Fasten your seatbelt, boys and girls, and prepare for the takeoff with 4A Flyer. You are the pilot of the 4A Flyer combat plane! Exclamation point. You missed, one of the problems is that when a word is split like that, your mission is to carry top secret cargo to 4 separate airports. But watch out. Enemy planes will do all in their power to stop you from reaching your destinations. Start your engine, fly into the sky, navigate through hazardous weather conditions, search for and destroy enemy planes, and land safely without running out of fuel. Feel the excitement and motion of flight as you pilot your own plane with 4A Flyer. If you believe all of that, I have a bridge to sell you. Okay. And that's written. You can see that. I'm not making that up. Cynical, you know what I am. But at any rate, press any key to continue. Here you go. Oh, Vic, so much for drama. This is up to you.
Okay,
Back to you.
all right. Well, you have a radio voice.
Oh, yeah. Now I've got a television voice and a radio face.
In 4A Flyer, you pilot the plane through takeoff, flight, combat, and landing sequences, view the sky and horizon through the cockpit window, control the motion of the plane as you rush to intercept enemy planes, battle enemy planes, face dangerous weather conditions, monitor your fuel and power, hear exciting sound effects, yeah, zzz, and
Yeah, exciting, yeah.
use keyboard or joystick controllers, selecting weather option. Okay, so this is how to fly for a flyer.
You know what they could do? Instead of having that sound like a Stuka coming down and dropping those bombs, they could have it just a sound of a toilet flushing or something. Yeah, you're screwed.
Okay, what was the last one we ran? Was the winging it? Or no, it was the Dow 4. Yeah, so let's go up to the, let's go to the down 4 dock here and see if there was instructions on that. Documentation for Dow 4 is a single engine aircraft that's for recreational flying. Starting out, the program is designed to use with the TI Basic or Rich Extended Basic. To load.
Is this the one we're trying to fly with?
Yeah, I think that's the last one we were trying to run.
Isn't that the one with the one we just had up?
Yeah,
Oh, we still haven't gotten off the ground?
no.
We crashed from 9,000 feet or something. We're never able to take off.
Or no, I think that was the Dow aircraft we were.
And which
Dow
one-
aircraft, we couldn't get off the ground. The 4A Flyer, we were.
Safest plane we've ever been in.
Mhm. Once loaded, select one from the menu. This is the takeoff option. Enter a value for both wind and chop. Okay. Standard flight operations. Boy, if you printed this out, you would have a nice manual.
Yeah, it has the
Pre-flight
84-page
checklist,
manual
yeah.
that is in right there in your folder. It's all the same information,
Okay.
but
So now we can go back and what was the other one? The Dow 4 disk, the program, Dow 4 documents, and then we had SPAD. We did SPAD 13. Let's go down to winging it.
I got $10 that says we're never getting off the ground.
Winging it is an inexpensive flight simulator written in BASIC to make it available unexpanded to a TI computer system. As such, its commands may appear to be slow. The instrument display has been calculated in advance in segments of 3 or 4, preserving the real-time feel of more expensive flight simulators. If you find that you are always crashing right after taking off, thus preventing getting any practice at the feel of the controls, next time press the 4 key to then just wait until the plane takes itself off and reaches an altitude of
Now they tell us.
okay. Yeah. To counter the tendency for the nose to raise up, lower the throttle with the 2 key. 4A Flyer, huh?
I
Yeah.
think you have to press the function key.
Yeah, something about this.
Was it function and plus?
I'm sure they tell you. I think one of these you have to have alpha lock up, the other one alpha lock down.
Oh, I love
Okay.
that. I love it.
And what was our, SPAD 13. Yeah, we did that last February. Copied from a review of it published in Micropendium. Okay, well, they tell you what keys you use or the joystick.
I'm trying to think of the name of the guy that did the articles. It's Dave, former president of the group. I want to say Dave Hall, but that's not right. He's a psychologist out in Arizona now. Somewhere. He may be retired by now.
There's no README file on here as such on these different ones, and I didn't bring SPAD 13 with me.
Hey, they're cheering in the live chat.
Although on our modules disk, and see if you can flip through here and find SPAD 13 or Red Baron in those modules. Is that's a really intensive on
Did Red Baron ever come out in a module? I don't recall that.
yeah, because SPAD 13 was disk and Red Baron was a module, or vice versa.
No, Step 13 I know is a disc. I can see the disc that had a yellow label on it. And, you know, I can't remember what I did about an hour ago, but I
Yeah.
can remember that.
Red Baron or SPAD 13, SPAD XIII. Just flip through them one at a time. Each one of
Don't
these
get
is a
old,
disk
boys and
file.
girls. It really sucks.
Yeah.
Live fast, die young, make a good-looking corpse. This getting old ain't for sissies.
This is the BHXP. The BHXP-1 is an experimental aircraft in the final testing stages before FAA approval. The airplane itself is a modified version of an airplane purchased in 1984. The plane has been restructured to handle higher speed and has been fitted with a much more powerful engine. Yeah, I think I saw one where in a small experimental aircraft magazine, a guy put a Allison turboprop in an old biplane.
Yeah, you know,
And
what they really want to do, if they really want to upgrade a plane like that, is cover the whole thing in about foot-thick foam. Very soft foam, and then put a governor on the engine so you can't go more than 10 miles an hour. And then when you get to the end of the runway, you just sort of bounce.
Yeah, he said it
that's
was
my kind of
fun
fun.
because when he nudged it up to full throttle,
The
he,
wings blew off.
he had to go full stick forward to just get it to just climb, you know, because otherwise it would loop. And I think he had to move the ailerons like all the way to the left to counteract the torque
Yeah,
of the propeller. So it was
it's like that.
quite a hot rod.
Yeah, that British pilot who bought a P-51 and crashed it as he was taking off because he was used to the engine turning to the left.
Oh.
And the engines turned to the right. Yeah, or vice versa. That
Yeah.
would be very
Yeah.
annoying.
I was at an air show in Lake Geneva some years ago, and they had a lot of the older looking aircraft with radial engines, and they had one that wasn't that old. It was a Russian aircraft with a radial engine, but their engines rotated in the different direction than American radials did. And they said, so of course, when he does stunts where he climbs and then chops power and loops and stuff, he does it backwards from what everybody else does because of the tremendous torque of that rotating mass of all the innards in that motor. Program loaded, alpha lock off. Boy, it'd be, you know, we almost need like 2 TIs, one to read the instructions here, and another to. Okay, so this would be the BHPX1. No Red Baron or
I can't see it yet.
SPAD 13 in there? Actually, let's quit this. We'll reset the.
I think it's SPAD X.
Let's reset the final ground, and we'll see if we actually got this on games. N to Z, that would be option F.
Is that it?
Yeah, that would be it, SPAD 13. And yeah, we got Red Baron here. And we got Space Bandits. No, they don't have SPAD 13, But yeah, we have Red Baron here. It's option C. Okay. And here we are. We're back to the Red Baron.
I thought we were doing BH, whatever it is.
That one was complicated.
Oh, that one was complicated. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Do we want the Red Baron? No. This gave you the option of fighting them or not.
Let's
We
go
have the
bomb
French.
Eiffel Tower. Come on.
Okay. We're at, there we are.
Okay, Alex has got the manual up. He's reading the manual. There's the Eiffel Tower. We can fly beneath the legs of it and drop a bomb. Just don't hit the damn thing. It slows us down. You can shoot at the thing too. Drop a bomb. Scare the good citizens of Paris.
I sort of lost track of it. You do have different modes here where one is looking straight ahead. 2 is looking
Oh,
left.
great. Great. You crashed it. No. Right
Yeah.
there, no. Country, Paris.
Yeah, there we are again.
Yeah. Shoot at the doggone thing.
What key is the,
Maybe.
oh, I forgot. You got to level off after you turn. You move the stick, it stays moved.
Primitive aircraft. Which one is the fire button to shoot at the Eiffel? I don't know. Alex, quick, tell us. Look in the manual. Tell us what to press to shoot the Eiffel Tower. We're pretending to be the Red Baron.
Okay, which one's the altimeter there?
I don't know, but we're mighty low. You gotta be low to fly through the thing, but
I lost track of it because
it's off to the left.
the machine.
Hard left, and we're gonna. There's the Champs-Élysées. Or the Trocadero or something. We're gonna shoot the Trocadero. What the hell? Maybe that's the Seine. I don't know. Shoot the Seine.
I think we flew past it and it's behind
It's
us.
behind us,
Oh,
yeah.
there we go. No, it's still in front of us.
There we go. That's the very. There's the shadow of the plane on the ground.
Yeah. Well, at least this one you get to see your stick. Here, I'll move the stick left with the S key. It moves to the left.
There it is. Now you can shoot it. Or bomb it.
Crash into it.
Yeah, because you got your different views. Here's looking right off your right wing. I like this one because you can actually see what you're doing. Here's
Okay.
looking left.
We found the.
Here's looking behind you. And there it's going in the distance. That must be our shadow down there on the ground. Looking straight up.
I would think you might want to look forward. if
Looking
we're flying towards
down.
That thing. Oh, we already flew through it?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, because here's the here's looking back.
Good shot.
There's one of these I think you can look back without your tail being in the way, which was good for if you're doing a bombing
Yeah,
run.
if you're backing up, that's
Yeah,
always handy,
beep,
yeah.
beep. There's looking front.
Au revoir, Paris. Now, if we only knew where the hell we'd come from.
Mm-hmm. I'll start it over again. That's easier than
Oh,
Red Baron. Yeah, let's go with the German field.
oh, if we must.
You see, you can tell if you're ascending or descending pretty much if the horizon is even with your gun sight, then you know you're flying level. So we're probably should be moving a little faster. I just don't know where the throttle is.
Now, what
No.
are we looking for? The trenches? We're gonna shoot up a trench?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we what? Look
Or can we-
back.
Can we drop a bomb on them from high?
Or
enough
we
altitude?
passed them. Okay, those red starbursts are flak.
Uh-oh.
So we got to be close. This is the sun up here. That's a cloud. There's your horizon. If you're looking down, I don't see anything there.
Well, we could just carpet bomb them, you know. Not
Yeah.
have to worry about where they are. We just
Okay,
take out a
so,
few churches and orphanages and trees and
so what's our altitude here?
maybe the odd beaver dam or something.
Okay, so the one on the right must be the airspeed, and the one on the left is the altitude. So let's go down a little. Okay, we're under 1,000 feet now. Try turning around. Yeah, the Span 13 was always fun because of the minimalist approach. What key drops the bombs?
What's that?
What key drops the bombs?
I think that's the
Is
key of
the-
a few.
Because Q fires the machine guns here. I see that red flame coming out the front.
Yeah, try the, AMF key.
Oh, that was a tree.
Ah. no,
I was a little lower than I thought it
That
ran.
was the wrong key.
Yeah, I ran into a tree.
There's no dishonor in doing that because after all, we did manage to get up off the ground in the first place, which is,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, better than we've been doing for the rest of the day.
Well, that was one of their serving suggestions where they asked you if,
Should have bombed the tree.
yes.
If you do it again, bomb that tree. Boys and girls, bomb that tree at home in memory of us.
Pac-Man
Wait, we're in the
Parson.
tree now, aren't we? Now don't bomb that tree.
Yeah.
Bomb some other tree.
Okay, so in the games here that came with my my Nano, or with my Final Grom, was quite extensive, so I had to put them all in two separate folders here. Q-Bird, anything, Robotron, Rock Runner, Shinazola, Skyway, St. Nick. Yeah, I remember last year I was having all that trouble with St. Nick with the cartridge and the disk files, and I couldn't get to run. And it turned out it was the F-18. It was version run, and I had to go to version 2.
You got a bunch of coal in your stocking?
yeah. Star Runner, Star Trek SOS. Remember Star Trek where it's a, let's do it.
Yeah, maybe we can take
Yeah.
let's take the Enterprise down and bomb
Yeah.
the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, because this was the Star Trek movie ship, wasn't it? That's not the classic.
No, that's the Enterprise.
Entering sector 1.1.
Yeah, because in this one, you know, some of these games they play with joystick 1 and some play with joystick number 2. It's always fun trying to,
Figure out which is which on the fly.
yeah.
Entering sector 1.2.
I always thought it'd be nice to redo the controls on one of these, so you could use the wheel.
Entering sector 1.3.
You know, it looks like we got the ship bombed out of us. Let's try docking with the starbase first. pick up our shields a little bit.
Did we just crash the Starship?
No, look at our shields. We got nothing. Yeah, you dock with the Green Star base, and to get your shields and photons back. Okay.
We just docked with an alien vessel.
No, the green ones are your star base, and you want to dock with them to replenish your. And I was never happy in Star Trek when the Romulans went over to using the Klingon ships instead of the bird of prey ships.
Yeah, that would be a bad day for you, I suppose.
I thought, what was the?
Went from warbirds to birds of prey.
Yeah, it's. I couldn't figure out how the.
Slowly and painfully.
Yeah, it feels like it's gonna when we.
Wi-Fi in the library is not all that fast.
Yeah.
So that was Star Trek. Let's try Star Trek SOS. So be C.
How close are we?
Can we break that?
So we're about 15 minutes away from having to get the hell out. We should be packing up soon. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may want to check to see if there's anyone.
Yeah, Vic, we got 15 minutes left. I will go and hobble out here.
Okay, so this one's listed as Star Trek SOS, but it looks like it's the.
I think it's 5:05, isn't it? All right, is it SOS? All right, I will go.
Looks like the same game.
Info here on whether or not we
So we'll start shutting down the stuff that isn't important.
not if there's anybody after us. Nobody's here that we can take our time. I'm not back in 15 or 20 minutes. And I'll just search for you.
Thought we had the duplicate skull bitmap demo, bomb jack. Yeah, this was F-18 demo showing you the resolution you can get out of a TI if you push it a little bit. Yeah, here it says F-18 version 1.8 for a few moments to let you know that you got the F-18 upgrade.
Sounds like your fans going into overdrive.
Well, we can actually shut that one off. I couldn't show you the stuff I was trying to show you. I'll have to do that at another time. But you should have gotten a CD or a flash drive with the TIDIR program on it to put on your Windows machine. Turn this off. Yeah, if you need it, I can email it to you.
No, we don't have anybody following us, so we're not in a big rush to.
So how are we doing on the fair this year?
Well, good news, bad news, kind of situation. We weren't able to get our preferred date on the 31st of October because there was a kiddies program. Well, it's Halloween, you know, until almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So that would have meant that we would lose 3.5 hours or 4 hours of the fair. So rather than do that, we had a choice. We could either go up against the Thanksgiving weekend, or we could go a couple of weeks earlier than we usually go. So I chose to go because of the football schedule. And it just happened to be that way this year that we had to go to the 24th of October. And it'll be a little bit earlier than usual. Maybe the weather will be a little bit better. Kind of hard to guarantee any weather a year in advance. But at any rate, it'll be on the 24th of October. So if anyone's planning on coming, that's a little bit of information for the future. It will be our 38th fair, I believe. Last year was the 37th. And as always, there will be new products, new games, new people coming. Hopefully, some of the old people that didn't make it. And when I say old people, of course, I mean old friends from years past. I'm hopeful that Barry Harmson can make it. I'm hopeful that Charlie Good can make it. Bob Carmody, a lot of other people who have been here traditionally over the years and weren't able to make it last year for health reasons and other reasons. And don't know who's watching right now. Let's see, we've got Alex and Jim. Well, Jim's here, and Owen is here watching, and hopefully some of you all can be at the fair this next coming fair, and we'll be able to join us for not just the fair but for the banquet, for the infamous pub crawl. This year, because of the cold and the fact that several of our favorite places have been closed, in fact, disappeared. Tommy Nevins Bar, Prairie Bar were dismantled, torn down, and a new huge apartment building built in their place. And then Pete Miller's Steakhouse, where they had a very interesting row of taps. You put your credit card in, and then you pour beer from any one of, I think it was 51 taps, and then they were all at different prices, and the computer calculated what you had drunk, what you had poured, and then just gave you a bill at the end of the night. In fact, it just put it on your credit card, and you got your card back, pulled it out of the machine, and they sent you at the end of the month. They sent you a bill for whatever you decided to imbibe. Kind of an interesting concept, and I think that probably maybe a little bit ahead of its time. I haven't seen that anywhere else, but it was nonetheless an interesting thing, and sadly, it's gone, as is a very, very fine steakhouse in the city of Evanston. So we had to go to the Celtic Knot and sit at a long table. It was a rather crowded place. It was hard to hear from one end of the table to the other. And I'm realizing now that probably that was my loss of hearing in the left ear, because I was on the very right side of the table. But I could hear the people at the table next to us very easily. And at any rate, with any luck, I'll still be around for the next fair. And we will have a good time, as usual. Lots of new stuff. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone that can make it. It'll be on the October the 24th. And of course, we'll have a gathering, a dinner the night before, maybe in the same place that we've had it the last couple of years. Perhaps we'll find an even better place. Last year, they were very nice to us. They couldn't feed us in the private dining room, which is their breakfast room, but they did manage to print up a very nice menu for us, and had those available at each table setting, something that we've never had before. And now we have a little printed and a written souvenir from that meal. And the rules are changing a little in Evanston now. The infamous pub crawl may include a quick stop at one of the medical marijuana dispensaries for those who want that sort of thing. And there's one, in fact, right downtown, right next to the Smiley Brothers pub, where we've also gone in years past. So you get your choice. It's not legal to smoke on the street, but I guess once you're inside, that's legal. I don't know. You can't smoke cigarettes, but you can smoke pot. So this is a wonderful town, a wonderful state we live in. We'd like you to come and spend some money here, because the the governor, who has big plans, has raised all of the taxes all around, has big plans to spend your money.
Well, that's why you
Whether
had to
you want to or
smoke
not.
the pot.
Yeah.
You have
So-
to deal with the.
Yeah, by all means, come,
Under
spend
so
your
much
money, bring your
stress.
money, bring your smile, bring your new programs, bring your sense of humor. This is, after all, Illinois. And we'll hope to see you all on the 24th of October. So how are we doing? Are we rolling the credits?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just about done. It's rolling all the credits.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah. Okay, this looks like it's hung up. I can't figure out if it's trying to turn off.
It says we make
What it's
demos.
doing.
And on both sides, there's a geography going by. And cool. I can't read that. Maybe it's just a logo.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Boy, I was more of a typical TI demo than they usually are.
Yeah.
I thought I had all the software correctly loaded up on these cards, and it was frustrating when it turned out it wasn't, because I had spent some time going through it.
In all fairness, I don't think we should disparage the software. I think the software probably was doing what it was supposed to do. I think maybe we were not perhaps doing what we should have done correctly. I mean, 6 or 7 crashes in a row would seem that 3 or 4 different systems would seem not to be so much the system's fault. But that's just me talking.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I guess that's it.
So time to shut it down.
Yeah, I guess we're about ready to say goodbye until next month, and hopefully we will be back next month on the 1st of February. We have some medical problems and some, I think we have some
Family commitments.
family commitments. Vic, do you want to tell us about?
Yeah, my daughter's gonna have a birthday this month. Not birthday. She's gonna give birth this
Your
month.
daughter's daughter is going to have a birthday, or your
Yeah.
daughter's son is going to have a birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I have to go out and back her up. Hopefully I'll be able to make the February meeting.
Grandchild.
You can't back her up anymore. This is a fait accompli. She's already pregnant. She's gotta, no matter what you do, Vic.
So, well, we're signing off. and,
Okay. Till next month.
Have a good day,
Adios,
everyone.
Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen, etc. Okay.